The guide is designed to help employers to maintain a culture of safety and responsibility. Being a responsible employer in relation to work, health and safety is difficult, too difficult for many. Safe work is a big challenge. There are many activities that have to be addressed. Further, resources are scarce, laws and codes are available, but difficult to implement. And also, contractors work on tight budgets, they resist spending time and money on work health and safety. As a result, there is a temptation to do little, or nothing. However, this can result in casualties for workers and huge financial losses to employers. The guide provides a practical answer. The guide is the answer for employers to show that their employees are competent to work safely. The guide is the answer for employees to return home happy and healthy after their day's work. The guide is a work health and safety resource consisting of a manual and a set of model safe work method statements and safe work procedures. The guide also features assessments to provide evidence of understanding the various safety topics. The guide is available online. It can be accessed from a PC, a tablet or a cell phone. This means it is accessible anywhere at any time. Key features of the guide are: it is written in plain English and illustrated. It is comprehensive. It is well organized, easy to find the topic you want. It is up to date. It tracks users' progress. It provides references to model legislation and codes. And we welcome any comments or suggestions to make it more user-friendly. Users, that is, individual employees, must be registered. They can then access the guide with their personal user ID and password. The guide will keep track of each user's activities on the guide. The menu screens record which topics have been accessed. The safe work procedures can be downloaded and signed. The assessments menu records when tests were taken and the scores achieved. On entering the website, the first thing we do is enter our unique user identification and password. The screen then shows the programs registered to the user, in this case, the guide. We click on this, and then on the small green arrow that appears below it. This opens the guide. The program recognizes that we have been in it before, and gives us the option of going back to where we left off, or entering the first page. We click Cancel to go to the beginning. We adjust the screen, pass the splash page, and arrive at the welcome screen. To go to the main menu, we click on the menu button at the top right of the screen. On leaving the welcome page, we come to the main menu page. On the left of the screen we see the list of topics currently included in the guide. On the right we see two yellow buttons that take us to either the model safe work procedures or the test. The risk management section addresses the legislation governing work health and safety in the workplace. It goes on to describe the risk management process used in developing safe work procedures, the use of safe work method statements and some organizational issues. Personal controls come next. They are vital as most incidents occur through people not having their minds on the job, for whatever reason. It also addresses workers' responsibility to use personal protective equipment correctly. Electrical hazards describes the three most common electrical risks. Electric shock when we touch an exposed conductor. Arc flash when two or more conductors short circuit. And flashover, which can occur if we get too close to a high-tension line. The electrical safety section looks at some of the basic procedures we use to guard against the risks. Testing circuits and equipment. Isolation or lockout-tagout, and safe approach distances. The workshop tasks section begins with manual handling, the cause of most work-related health issues. It then describes key safety controls to be adopted when using typical workshop tools. Asbestos-containing materials are commonly encountered on older work sites such as houses, shops, offices and factories. It is important that we identify these, and do not undertake any minor work on them such as drilling or cutting, unless we have been specifically trained. Electrical workers often work at heights, on roofs, in building construction, and on poles or transmission towers. It is vital to understand the safety aspects of access such as ladders. working under restraint on roofs and elevated sites, and basic fall protection. Work environments can present their own hazards. Confined spaces, buried services, weather extremes and hazardous materials all carry their own risks. Electrical workers commonly work on client sites. They must undertake site induction and be familiar with all aspects of site emergency management. And many electrical workers are apprentices who require very specific levels of supervision, depending on their level of training. Tomorrow, John is going to be working on a roof, helping to install photovoltaic cells. He has not worked on a roof before. To prepare for this, he needs to open the manual and check the relevant section, so he clicks on the Work at Heights button. Here we can see that John has already looked at the first two sections. He goes to the third section as roof work is definitely classed as working in an exposed situation. Having read the material on roof work and other forms of restraint and fall protection, he wants to get a better idea of some or the equipment used in height work. He clicks on the Safety Equipment button. Here he gets a better idea of harnesses and anchor points. He then returns to the section menu where he can see that the third section has now been ticked off. Now we need some evidence that John has understood the procedures, so he clicks on the Safe Work Procedures button. He then selects Other Procedures and locates the Work on Roofs procedure. He clicks on this to download a Word document. The Model Safe Work procedure is downloaded as a Word document, so it can be edited by the employer to cover particular situations that their workers may encounter. The document presents a model procedure that lists possible hazards, associated risks and how those risks are typically managed. Then, at the end of the document, John signs it. His signature is countersigned by his supervisor to indicate that both are satisfied that John understands the basics of safe work on roofs. The guide also features online tests covering the main topics. As each test is completed, the score and the date are recorded. Users can also print the test page to show where they are up to at any given time. John has completed a test on height safety. His manager wants to ensure that he understands his personal responsibilities, so he asks John to complete this test. He clicks on the Take a Test button. We can see that John has already completed tests on risk management and height work. He now clicks on the Personal Controls Test option. This brings him to the entry screen where he sees that the test will present him with 15 questions. These are drawn at random from a question bank. We now skip to the last question in the test. Here we can see that John has scored 93%. John can print the page and give it to his boss to show which tests have been completed, and when. He can take the tests again at any time, either to improve his score or for revision.